George, your take on these events happening?
Well, it's a very grave escalation as President Trump is embracing the little rocket man in Hanoi. Here are two nuclear-armed forces now openly slagging it out, verbally and in military terms. And the pictures of the captured Indian pilots are, of course, on a loop in the Indian media, stoking tensions still higher. The success of the Pakistani military in bringing down these jets is encouraging militant forces on their side of the line. It's a very, very grave matter, and you'd think the entire world would be moving as one to try and bring it under control. But as you say, people like us have got more important things to talk about, like a backstop in the Brexit negotiations in 6 counties in the north of Ireland. But you're right to highlight this Kashmir question is another British blunder, a crime and a blunder. The way that Britain scuttled from India in 1947 and partitioned the country without making any attempt to ascertain the democratic wishes of the people in the territories being partitioned is coming home to roost all these decades later in the disputed area of Kashmir, which is an overwhelmingly Muslim area that wanted to join Pakistan on partition, but the Hindu Maharaja, imagine the word, Maharaja with a jewel in his turban, he wanted to go to India, so to India it went. And it's never been accepted. They've been fighting over it ever since. India has 600,000 soldiers occupying the tiny area of Kashmir, one of the most beautiful areas in the world, paradise, actually a living hell.
Now, George, you mentioned Kim Jong-un and President Trump meeting, obviously about denuclearization of the peninsula. But what about denuclearization here? All eyes are on that summit. But let me ask you this. Is the world closer to a possible nuclear war now between Pakistan and India? Forget the U.S. and little Rocket Man.
Well, we're in a war. That war might escalate, and that war might escalate to an exchange of so-called tactical battlefield nuclear weapons, which again could escalate into nuclear arms fired at each other's cities. It's quite terrifying, and it has erupted apparently out of nowhere for most of the news media, who are entirely oblivious to the 70 years or more of history in this. It just goes to show where there's no oil involved, where there's no real geostrategic interest for the superpowers, well, these things just got left to fester and later poison and erupt. And that's exactly what's happening here. So I'd suggest that everyone, Russia, America, China, all quickly get moving to try and bring this situation under control. Imran Khan, very calm I thought he looked. He said, let's talk about this. But that's not what Modi on the Indian side, just weeks away from a general election, is interested in doing. Wars are good for political business, as we know, Manila.
Yes, George, we have certainly covered that quite a bit, especially between you and I. And now let's talk about